motorcycle from behind. 24-year-old Serena C.J. Rodriguez of Auburn was arrested, booked into the Solano County Jail. She's expected to be arraigned on felony murder and DUI charges at 1:30 this afternoon at the courthouse in Fairfield. Meanwhile, also happening today, the man accused in a deadly shooting and hostage situation at a Roseville park last year is set to be in court.
KCRA 3's Melanie Wingo is joining us now live in Roseville with an update on the case against Eric Abrill.
Yeah, we know a preliminary hearing is scheduled for today in the case of Eric Abrill, and it's set to happen here at the Justice Center in Roseville. As you will recall, it was last April when Eric Abrill is accused of getting into a shootout with officers after taking two hostages at Mahaney Park in Roseville. One of those hostages was killed in the gun battle. A second person and a California Highway Patrol officer were injured, according to officials. The deadly ordeal happening as officers were trying to serve a felony search warrant on Abrill. Abrill, who was also hurt in the gunfire during that shootout, eventually surrendered and then went to the hospital for treatment. While in jail on charges stemming from the park shootout, Abrill is also accused of escaping from custody as he was in the course of going through treatment at a hospital visit during July of last year, which led to a 33-hour manhunt and subsequent capture of Abrill. So a lot of eyes are on this case, and we will be following the developments as things get back into court this morning. Abrill is facing charges of kidnapping, murder, attempted murder, just to name a few. So we'll bring you the latest a little bit later today. Reporting live in Roseville, Melanie Wingo, KCRA 3 News.
Melanie, thanks so much for that live report. Time is 7:10. Time for another check of KCRA 3 weather and traffic every 10 minutes. And we start with meteorologist Tamara Berg.
Yeah, if you're heading out that door right now, you may have to brace yourself for maybe grabbing a layer just to get by. It is nice and cool in most areas, especially here in the valley floor. Temperatures are down into the lower 60s. That's a live look at the Capitol Dome. We've got sunshine, a few high clouds sprinkled in the mix, and it is 60 on the nose here in the capital city. We're at 64 in Stockton, 68 Modesto, and 44 for you in Lake Tahoe. If you are planning to head to the California State Fair, I'll show you the best day, and that's actually going to be Tuesdays. Those high temperatures are just going to be in the lower 90s. We're around average today, and same story for Wednesday. So overall, again, if you have a pick to go to the fair today, tomorrow, or Wednesday, I think you're going to still be in good shape. If you wait until the back half of the week, that's when things do start to heat back up. I'll talk more about that coming up. 98 in Quincy today, 87 in Pollock Pines, and expect that we will see most areas getting into the 90s in the foothills. We can go back to the graphic there for TV2. 94 today in Auburn, 93 in Jackson. Will be at 95 in Angels Camp and around Murphy's. Closer to the Bay Area, looking at upper 60s in San Francisco to 89 in Fairfield. Your Monday forecast for the San Joaquin Valley, it is not going to be as hot as yesterday. 97 in Turlock, 96 Modesto. Pretty good looking day there in Lodi at 93. We're going up to 98 today in Yuba City, so again, not as hot as yesterday. Roseville and Folsom area in the upper 90s. Davis hitting the lower 90s. Coming up here in the next 10 minutes, I will break down for you the chance for some thunderstorms in the mountains today, as well as the heat ahead later this week. It is 7:12 right now. Aaron, hopefully things aren't heating up on the highways.
Well, they are heating up a little bit in Sacramento. This is actually a red zone on our map, and it's flowing. If we take a look at our map, you can see that's what I just showed you, 25 miles an hour as we go from West Sacramento over on into the Davis-Dixon area. And then down here, when the transition from 99 onto the 50, 24 miles an hour. Not terrible. If we take a look southbound, not bad at all. Everything actually pretty much in the green. Stockton incident-free all morning. Let's cross our fingers and not jinx anything. Tracy, yikes. There are no incidents. This is just the drive times. And take a look at your screen. 34 minutes, I-5 to 580. Back to you.
All right, thank you. Still ahead, what is next for the campaign trail?
A political expert will join us live to break down how the assassination attempt changes the political landscape. We'll have his insight live coming up next. If you are just joining us, we are hours away from the start of the Republican National Convention. Delegates and officials are descending on Wisconsin. You are taking a live look right now at the convention site in Milwaukee. The event follows an assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. A 20-year-old man shot at Trump from a rooftop near a Pennsylvania rally on Saturday. Trump is recovering and will attend the convention as he prepares to become the GOP's official nominee. President Biden has ordered a national security review of the incident over the weekend, but officials say the RNC has the highest security level possible. The event takes place not only as Trump leads a party in lockstep behind him, but also as Democrats roil over President Biden's viability and questions on if they should replace him as their nominee. This morning, we welcome University of the Pacific Associate Professor of Political Science, Keith Smith. Professor Smith, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You know, this isn't the first act of political violence we've seen in this country, but how does Saturday's incident impact the election?
So I think the main impact is that it completely scrambles both parties' messages as they head into the conventions. Trump has already said that he's rewritten the speech that he was going to give at the Republican nominating convention. The Democrats are having to fundamentally alter their responses to whatever's going to happen this week. So it's a reordering of the messaging and a kind of rethink of the strategies for both candidates.
You know, let's talk big picture. How does it impact the political landscape in general?
So I don't know that it fundamentally changes the dynamics of this election cycle. Voters are dissatisfied with President Biden. Voters have some grave concerns about both candidates that both candidates are having to navigate. If anything, it reinforces the Republican Party's view of President Trump and the fight that he is doing on their behalf.
You know, there have been a lot of folks, commenting about what impact this will have or could have or even should have on the upcoming election in November. But fundamentally, what do you think voters should be focused on right now?
So for voters, it's still a question of who do they think is going to help the country? Who do they think is going to lead the country in the direction that they want? Who's going to improve their economic situation more? Who's going to respond to the crises that the country faces on an ongoing basis? The external crises, and how are we going to respond to them? So the basic questions are the same. It's just in this moment, we have convulsions because of the assassination attempt.
Yeah, as you talk to your students, tell me about the conversations that you guys are having surrounding this political landscape, the environment now, and how this may change some of the conversations you're even having with students as they talk about this election cycle.
Yeah, so at Pacific this fall, we're going to be focusing on how to have hard conversations and how to talk with people who disagree with you and that you disagree strongly with, because we are in this moment where people are angry at each other. People don't know how to have these deep conversations and to listen in a way that allows you to hear other people and to respond in a way that doesn't escalate. And so, here's a moment where we have the opportunity to hear each other and maybe dial down the rhetoric and maybe dial down the antipathy a little bit and see the common humanity in each other.
Professor Smith, we appreciate you joining us this morning. It's something, of course, we will extensively continue to cover here at KCRA 3 throughout the election cycle and beyond. Thanks so much for being here.